the first 5, 6, 7 years of our journey,
Yeah.
we were always worried that the next day will be our last day. Be an underdog.
Ah.
Yes, be an underdog. It's a make sure that you have that mindset.
Yeah.
Make sure that you always are aiming for a big dream. 50% of all transaction is still done by cash. It's like we can reduce the cash portions and also increase the digital wallet. We will also help drive the economy growth. People always ask like, how is the position, for example, like you're one of the top players in the market, what are you going to do next? It's like, we're still going to do what we're doing because it's not there yet.
Today we're joined by arguably one of the most influential figures that has shaped Indonesia's payment landscape. Iswara is the CEO and co-founder of Dana, Indonesia's top e-wallet with over 200 million users. Of course, Rins recently was also a winner at our Fintech Frontiers 50 Awards. And today I want to get a sense of his founder journey, how Dana got to where it is today, the trials and tribulations along the way. Now, let's take us back to around 2017, 2018, when Dana wasn't even a brand yet. Now, I recall at that point of time, Amtech and Ant Financial were exploring how to bring this kind of tech into Indonesia, and you were still with Alipay at the time, if I'm correct. Walk us through what the early conversations were like in those very, very early days.
Back in 2008, basically, we just started. So the company was set in 2017. So I am one of the co-founders, along with previously Amtech and Ant Financials as our earliest investors. And we were essentially the largest fintech wallet that entered the market. It's funny because prior to that, I had my own fintech also in digital wallet. And I was at the time the first. So I restarted again back in 2017 because I believe that the potential is there, that the market needs and the market demands for, especially for underserved and an unbanked are there. And that's why we started this data, because we believe if we can unlock the potential of this market, specifically the underserved and the unbanked, then we can unlock the potentials of the country as well.
Certainly. And during those early conversations, how confident were you guys in the thesis? Because I think at that point of time, the only market in the world that has kind of proven itself for e-wallet was China.
Yeah.
Much of Southeast Asia is still wondering like, do we want to use e-wallet? Is that the form factor that people want? Because at that point, people were also thinking like, it's so tedious to take out the phone, and phones were also not as powerful these days. There were also considerations like, can we even fit another app? How strong were your confidence in that thesis at that point of time?
So I had a fortunate situations, right? I've mentioned to you, like I was one of the first fintech players in Indonesia. So I do research the market extensively. And has always been, at the time it's called Alipay, right? Like was extensively being quoted as the best fintech platform. And in China, when back then, previously before I restarted again, right? That was like back in 2010. They were also very early in the game, but I see the impact that they've done in China. And then after that, after China, you also remember there's India as well at the early stage. So I got a fortunate situation where I actually met like VJ and at the very early stage, and then seen how well they've done in the market. So I honestly truly believe the game-changing potentials of mobile wallet, in especially in a country where the penetrations of the bank still not yet like 100%.
Especially at that point of time.
Exactly. Yeah. Now even now, I would say I think the penetration.
There's
of
some
banks,
movement, but back then it was for sure. So I think it's interesting, right? So you were saying like how you very early on you founded the first, was it
Oh yeah, Indomog.
In
Yeah.
well, that's ancient history at this point.
That's ancient history. So I started back in 2008. So
Wow.
if you think about 2008,
That's way early.
the word fintech was not
No,
a
no,
word yet.
no. Even mobile wallets were barely over. It was more like
No.
USSD kind of
Yeah, it's basically
phones.
stored value. Because we call
Yeah.
it stored value. That's it.
That's so fascinating. So how did you feel? Because you were an entrepreneur, then you went to professional life, and then you became an entrepreneur again in the same field. What was going through your mind?
So I think that's the thing, right? It's
Mm,
I believe I was very fortunate to be able to do
mm,
that
mm,
because a lot of entrepreneurs generally, if
mm,
they've done into
mm,
started their own business, they
mm,
always want to continue to the
mm,
next one or continue their current startup
mm,
up to like whatever goals that they had.
mm,
So I was fortunate because I had a dream.
mm,
Like I had a dream that I really want to change something
mm,
in our country to make it better.
mm,
And I put myself to that space of financial segment
mm,
because I seen that it's not yet there.
mm,
I seen the potential,
mm,
right? I seen
mm,
other markets that has done successfully.
mm,
Then and kind of come in and
mm,
saw our
mm,
company, the Indomog at the
mm,
time, and they were very interested in the
mm,
company. We had a long conversations
mm,
back and forth, and after about like a year and a half,
mm,
they decided that the company that I was in
mm,
was not the company that they thought going to be
mm,
growing to the next
mm,
stage,
mm.
but they see me as a real
The
potential.
guy to drive
Yeah.
the thing to the next stage.
So that's
Yeah,
why I
yeah.
decided that it's the right time for me to move on to the
Mm,
next stage. And
mm,
then joining Ant was an opportunity for me to actually
mm,
learn the
mm,
things that they've done
mm.
successfully in China,
Yeah,
and then like seen end to end
yeah.
what they did right, what they mistake that they
Mm,
do,
mm,
and of course with the mind that eventually we're gonna start a
mm,
company in Indonesia,
mm,
and we hope it can be as
mm,
successful as the one
mm.
that they did in China.
Arguably, at that point of time, I don't think there was any better entity to learn from than Ant.
Yeah, no,
I
that's what
mean,
I'm telling
they
you.
were
I
such
feel
great.
very fortunate
Yeah,
sometimes, and of course, at the time I
yeah,
was like, I'm an entrepreneur. Why would I
yeah.
want to
I want to do
be a
my own thing.
professional again,
Yeah,
right? But then
yeah,
the potential of learning,
yeah,
it's something that
yeah.
I would say no one should,
No one
try
should
to avoid,
reject that.
right?
And I think it's also very fortunate because I've met a lot of founders who have really great ideas.
Mhm.
But sometimes these ideas come a bit too early before the market is even ready. And I'm so amazed that you managed to get a second chance to really build this very, very
Yeah,
successful
yeah.
e-wallet today.
Yeah, so that's one thing, right?
Yeah,
Regardless of the form,
yeah,
the dream is what matters.
yeah,
So I think that's the one that is, kept me where I am today, and then,
mm,
kept me all the way
yeah.
through all the difficult times.
What what personal experiences have you gone through in life that you think shaped this dream?
I think the biggest is that I I went through a lot up and down,
Mm,
right? I mean, becoming entrepreneur, I was a pretty successful entrepreneur,
mm,
and then
mhm,
restart everything again,
mm,
become a professional for
mm,
quite a few years, and then have to restart again. And
mm,
it hasn't been exactly a smooth journey,
mm,
right? I mean, we were fortunate to get such a valuable investor such an Ant
mm,
Group,
mm,
but then we also have a lot of challenge because at the time the
mm.
market has just become very competitive.
Yeah, yeah,
Everyone else raises
yeah,
billions of
yeah,
dollars.
yeah. Big
So
war chest in Indonesia.
exactly,
Yeah,
right? So I was up there, and
yeah,
I was a bit restarting again,
yeah,
and I was up there again, and
yeah,
then after that it's like because it's so hard to compete, I was down again. But
yeah,
then I decided it was also to start, having a better strategy,
yeah.
having a better like
Mm,
like focus on what I want to do, and I started to grow that again.
yeah.
So overall,
Mm,
I would say there is not a single point
mm,
that you would say what defined me, but
mm,
all the long journey is
mm.
what keeps redefining me.
All these moments and moments, you
Exactly.
experience this, you see this, and like
Yeah.
it forms and
Yeah.
shapes
And
what
that's
that you.
actually similar to how we
Mm,
grow our company. People keep asking, right?
yeah,
It's like, hey, what is
uh-huh,
the one thing that
yeah,
helped us to be where we're
Yeah.
at today.
Yeah, what is that?
There's not one thing. Every single thing that we
Right.
built over time, one at a time, that makes us where we are today. So there is no inflection point where suddenly we jump up straight up. No,
Yeah.
it's like a growth over
Yeah.
time, but continuously.
I mean, that's the thing, right? Life is not so neat like a movie, right?
No.
There's
No.
always like one big point, but life is made out of all these
Yeah.
little moments. So you spoke about ups and downs, and I think for me, when I speak to a lot of founders, I find a lot of value in the downs because the downs, the tough times, the difficult moments, they don't make it to the headlines, but that's where a lot of founders learn from each other, right? So talk to me about some of those difficult moments. What was the hardest thing you had to do as an
That's the thing.
entrepreneur?
It's like throughout all of this journey, you know, there's pretty much the first 5, 6, 7 years of our journey, we were pretty much on the edge. We were, I'm not saying we're ready, but we were always worried that the next day will be our last day.
Yeah.
And there's just so many challenges, and that what makes it as also worthwhile, right? I mean, when you talk about challenges, right? I mean, we talk about competitions, and then we talk about regulations. We talk also about, you know, like stakeholder management, the irrational market. You know, there's one time in Indonesia about 3 to 4 years ago where you go and you see the market, you know, like there are so many incentive-driven user behavior. You see 50% cashback. You see
throwing money at the point of
70%
time.
cashback. Sometimes there's even 100% cashback. And we were like, I don't understand
How
how.
doing the math here?
Like, how can we compete if the users itself is becoming irrational, right? So and really, I mean, at the time we were like, are we the right industry? Can we continue to keep doing this? But then we also started to see, oh, wait a minute. Let's see the market in a broader, longer term point of view. If we believe in a longer term point of view, which one of the market that should be the driving force? And then we just go there, focus ourselves fully in there, and then start building again and again. So the word that I keep saying is that there is a lot of challenges, but the best thing that I you know, done to myself and to the team is how we can keep redefining ourselves all the time.
And that's interesting, right? And I think there's a certain, I guess, charm to moments in your startup journey where you're not sure you're gonna live, the company's gonna survive the next day, right? I mean, of course, now being more stable is its own set of challenges. Next phase of growth is its own set of challenges. But looking back in the early days, right? What were some of the fond memories you have building this Dana business?
I always like that when we started this is that we started this together with the team that's been with me the longest. So I'll give you some you know numbers. Like the team that's been with me in the first year, out of the 81 people that's joined us in the first 6 months, about 65 of them still with us.
Oh,
yes.
That's,
after 8 years.
That's really good numbers.
And that's the thing. How like we go through all of this together and working with them, each one of them on how we can create our product and how we can take a look at the market, how we come up with the marketing strategy, how we come up with I would say like the technology, which technologies we're going to use, which kind of you know algorithm that we are coming up with so that we can serve the customer better. It's like all of that, you know, it's just makes it so exciting.
Yeah, because you're more hands-on, right? You're on the ground, like how do we fix this? How do we do this?
and that's also gets me like until today, that's what drives me. Because you know, some companies, like probably some founders, they go on to the next stage, they become much more of the high level, they talk in, you know, to industries, managing investors, you know, going around, you know, this kind of like media conversations, right? But I enjoy actually putting that hand to the dirty work or working together with the team itself on the building the product. and the services. And that's really where I believe the biggest success of where we are at.
And are you still very much?
Oh, very. Like, you can ask our team. Yeah, it's like
But
very
that's the
much.
best part, though. I feel like sometimes founders in their growth, they get distracted from why they are in the game in the first place. So looking back, right now you're at 200 million customers. I mean, there's a point where you have 0 users when you guys first started. Did you imagine you'll get to 200 million? Because that's a big number. Like, it's an unthinkable number.
See, the thing is, we never seen like how big we are. We're always seeing how helpful we are in terms of our users.
Right.
So that's our metric. We always believe that if we serve our users good, if they benefit from our platform, then we're successful. So
the numbers are not so
the
material.
numbers are not the end goal.
It's just an outcome.
It is the outcome. Yeah, it's just that every single things that we release, we make sure that, okay, you're good, you're using this, and then it benefits your life. You're not yet, so we're gonna build another product for you, and you benefit, and then you're good, and then we move on to the next all the time. So that's been our driving force. This is always about how we can get our users to eventually, when we talk about financial inclusions, right, to eventually have a financial healthy lifestyle.
Do you have like a favorite user story where you felt you really made an impact in this person's life?
Many. It's like, I'll give you some of it. Like, we serve a lot of SMEs, and we interviewed a lot of our SMEs, and they said, some of them, they grow from 20% of their business ever since they get into our platform. Some of them even have like more than 100% of the revenue increase. And why is that? And then we're trying to understand that, because one, it's easier to manage their business. It's open up their possibility to actually sell to more people. And at the same time, the things that we always want to give to our customers is the transparencies, is the securities, and then the ease of mind that they know whatever that they got paid for is actually is what they're gonna get.
I think,
I mean, like, there's some of that stories. I mean, more, it's like the other stories, like there is we talked to one of the journalists. She has a sister that she basically provide her daily kind of budget on how that's, like, where the sister can actually do to spend money, because the sister is still at school, and this is she's doing her work. So we have what we call family account. Family account.
Family account. Okay.
So then she can actually help shares her income to her sisters and manage that to make sure that her sisters know how to use it properly. If there is anything that they need, then she can have a visibility on how to share it. And at the same time, the sisters, if there's anything that she needs, she can always request. So that is actually very cool, because it's that with this, I can manage my household better.
Very useful.
I can help my sisters to get what she needs, and then also teach her on what is it that a good, kind of like budgeting, like, expenditures for. Yeah, so there's a lot of that kind of stories and options that in our app.
So it sounds like to me, the way that you guys approach your product design, it's very closely rooted in what the users actually need, from the family thing to the SME thing.
Yes.
How do you figure out what people need?
I think that's a question that
And there's
I
like
ask,
so many different people with so many different needs as well.
that's a question that I ask every single person in my team. So for us, we have a values in our company when we talk about the customer first. And when we talk about customer first, the first thing that we always trying to do is get to the customers and ask them, what do you need? What is it that you have right now that you feel are not good enough? And then there's two ways to do that, right? First, ask them, or we give them a product and see how they use it. And then we keep asking them, do you feel this is useful? Do you think we can improve? Do you think that we can, is there anything else you want to add on it? So we are very customer centric. So like 360 feedback, even we're willing to experiment that we believe that the customer needs, but they don't really at the time understand it or want it.
As
And then
Steve Jobs
let's see.
famously said, right?
Yeah, no, I mean it's that's the thing, right?
Yeah.
Apple is a golden standard,
Yeah, yeah.
but at the same time, it's like we believe there's this need because, you know, if you take a look about what's going on in Indonesia, for example, for the last like 50, 70 years, right? You talk about financial inclusions. Why a lot of people still are underbanked? Why are a lot of people still underserved? It's not because they don't have access. In fact, in Indonesia, there is a statistic that's saying that a bank can be reached within 1.5 kilometer from anyone in Indonesia. So accessibility, I don't think it's
the
a
wrong
problem.
lens. Yeah.
It's not a problem,
yeah.
but how to use them,
Correct.
how to make sure that they understand how to benefit their life, that's the one that we need. The literacy itself. So that's what our job is.
I mean, at the end of the day, what is the point of financial inclusion if not social mobility, right? That's at the end of the day.
Yeah.
I guess the other thing is that a lot of startups that I speak to, when you think about the number 200 million, that's like a big goal for them. It's often romanticized, you know, you're like, oh, I want to get to this number. Then like, when I speak to investors, they'll be excited. But there's a lot of challenges along the way, operationally, tech, team, culture, people. What are some of the things that I guess most people don't know about when it comes to scaling at this level?
So one thing that is funny, right?
Yeah.
You know, the only time this number ever come out is basically only in media. We actually don't even talk about it internally.
I'm guilty of that. I've mentioned it twice already, at least.
No, that's fine. No, because the reason is because once again, right? We always talk about like how deep the engagements are. We always talk about like the benefit of the customers. Like when you talk about the conversion rate, the engagement rate, when you talk about success rate, error rate, when we talk about, you know, loss, like basically very customer centric metric that we're using. So and that goes back again into our culture, right? It's like we one, we're customer first. Two, we call it a humble, but I give a translation about that. So we don't try to always brag about our success, but we always
let other people do it.
We let the data speak by itself. And so the second thing is we're very data driven. And when we talk about data driven, it's like I honestly have a dashboard that open like 3 or 4 times a day that I want to see what's going on with the behavior, right? So when you talk about this scale, it's going to be very difficult. That if you go one by one, but you need a set of data that can reflect. And that set of data is also can be deep dive into certain cohorts and categories. And we also started to use AI to help us actually figure out faster. And we empower that to every single employee of ours. So if you talk about, you know, let's say our communication team, so we even empower them with AI, with the data science, like every single person. So because with that, then every single person can make a decision. Every single person can make a analysis. And if we're done our job right, if the team knows like how to do it well, then we can make our customers even happier or satisfactions increase in
cuts across all divisions and functions. So I think, you know, since you've started Dana until now, the market is quite different. As you mentioned, there were this math that didn't make sense, right? 70% cashback.
Oh yeah, competition is very, very competitive.
Yeah, and financial discipline is coming into the picture. We don't see that level of user incentive anymore because investors are demanding for profitability, right? Where are you guys in this journey of profitability?
So we are sustainable already. So when we said we're sustainable, so we are already on a profitable, financially profitable.
Okay.
Yeah. And I think the most important all of that is not because we're financially profitable, because we have to make some sacrifices, but we're actually able to use the technology itself to drive the unit economics better.
Right.
And also to scale better,
Right.
right? I think that's always been the key. When you talk about technology, at the end of the day, it's about massive scales. It's sort of, you talk about unit economics and also drive that to all, not just the populations, but also all, for example, like customer base, such as the merchants and the financial institutions and the users itself. But saying that, we also believe that, we're not there yet. So there's still a lot of things that we need to do. We might need to also, once again, reinvest some of our profits to a new line of the services that we believe that the people need. Because when you talk about inclusion, it's not just when we started with payments, right? But doesn't stop there. And then it has stopped to, for example, like investment. It has to go to, for example, lending. It has to go through, insurances, protections. So we are willing to reinvest all of that to grow that, because once you get a full suite, then the customer's ability to benefit, to improve their life, it's so much higher.
Yeah, and that's really what inclusion is all about.
Exactly.
Because then you get to pay, you get to grow, you get to protect, and that's really where it's important. And that's really where the market is shifting as well. And I'm a firm believer that this market has shifted more in this past 5 years than the past 50 years. And I think it will continue to do so, right? So where do you see it heading in the next 5 to 10 years?
So, I mean, sometimes like saying to you, it's still very early in the game. So a lot of people, when they've seen, some of the news, valuations and everything, they thought it's like, like some of the companies already very high, right? And then some of the companies already even publicly listed. But if you go on the ground, if you go to see, right now, for example, like in Indonesia, 50% of all transactions is still done by cash. Right. The portion of the e-wallet itself has already gone up significantly. Now it's about 30%, if I'm not mistaken. So already overtaking card as a bigger payment instruments. But cash still king. And unless we can grow beyond cash, that means the visibility of and then also the inclusivity of all the population is not there yet. And if we can drive that faster, it's like we can reduce the cash portions and also increase the digital wallet, not just us, together with everyone in the market, right?
Big enough of a pie for a couple of folks.
Right? If you take a look at this, there's still 50% of the whole economy, it's still untapped. That means the pie is so much bigger, right? So we will also help drive the economy growth, like the GDP growth, GDP per capita growth. And so, when you talk about like positions, so people always ask like, how is their position? For example, like you're one of the top players in the market. What are you going to do next? It's like, we're still going to do what we're doing because it's not there yet. It's like still out of the room to grow. But we also want to get it deeper and deeper because we started to see, why is that? We started to see the deeper they are into some of the products we're offering, the more economic potential that we unlock from individual itself.
Absolutely. And given all these shifting things, right? Before I let you go, I just want to know what, as the CEO of the company, what would be your priority?
So our top ones right now is SMEs.
SMEs.
Yes, because we're already unlocked the consumer, right? If you go to Indonesia right now, if you go see everywhere the consumers, they started to use wallet to pay. They used to use like to pay their online purchase, offline purchase, paying their bills. They're started to get like all the financial services available. But SM is not yet there yet. It's very early. So the adoptions are there. If you take a look at the numbers, there's about 40 million out of the 60 million of the SMEs are already accepting digital payment. But if you've seen in overall transaction values, it's not that high yet. So we want to drive that. We want to do whatever that the consumer side that we've done. We also want to do the SMEs. So we want them to take benefit out of that. We want them to be fully in this digital ecosystem. And then like once they do it, they become more visible. And not only we're able to offer them more and more product, but the whole ecosystem of the fintech players is also able to certain as
And
well.
surely credit would be also.
Yeah, I mean everything, right? When we talk,
Funding,
like when we talk about
Yeah.
financial instruments, a lot of people usually talk only about
Yeah.
credits.
Yeah.
It has to be the whole suite.
yes,
It has to be the credit, it has to be the wealth
Payment,
management,
wealth,
it has to be the payment, it has to
Yeah.
also be the insurance, because
100%.
you need a full suite to
100%.
take advantage. If you only one suite,
Yeah.
you're not
No.
like it's not
It's
enough.
incomplete.
Yeah.
Yeah, interesting. Maybe just one last question
Yeah.
before we wrap up this session. Now, I think we've entered a time where a lot of the past decades entrepreneur have now grown to mature companies. And we're now seeing the next generation of fintech entrepreneurs that are coming up, trying to change the world just like you did years ago. What would you tell them?
That's actually going to be one of my talk later on as well. Be an underdog.
Ah.
Yes, be an underdog. It's a make sure that you have that mindset.
Yeah.
Make sure that you always are aiming for a big dream, but at the same time, you need to be as low profile as possible. And why is that? Because you have a lot of potential that you need to tap into. You don't want to be everyone watching you what you're going to do if you're too loud to talk about it, right? So keep a low profile, have a big dream, keep doing what you're doing. Resiliency, grit. We talk about, like knowing which pain points you want to address, focusing on the right technology. And then so if you do all of that, if you can know how to be underdog all the time, I'm not worried. I think we're going to have a lot of very successful entrepreneurs.
I love that. And on that note, thank you very much for
Thank you.
It's been a very inspiring chat.
Thank you.